So, as I was thinking how to prepare for this homily today, it was slow coming to me. But then all of a sudden I said, hey, wait a minute, you got a medical background, let's use that. So I said, okay, let's do that. So let's talk about the heart today, the heart and the circulatory system, right? Okay? So the heart has those two lower chambers called ventricles that pump the blood, and the two upper chambers called the atria, which receive the blood, right? So blood that just gets oxygen, it comes from the lung, it dumps into the upper left chamber, goes into the lower left chamber, and the heart goes and pumps it out to the body, right? The brain, the kidneys, all over, our fingertips, right? So that's the anatomy. But with anatomy, we had to learn physiology, the function of. And so we start at the very basic level of a cell. How does the heart cell work? Those cells come together and form the organ, the heart. And the heart and all the blood vessels, the arteries and the veins make up the cardiovascular system. So cell, organ, organ system. And then there's pathophysiology, how things don't work well when they get diseased. And the disease I thought we would talk about today, as I have nurses and medical people out there, will be diabetes, okay? And one of the things that diabetes will do, it will basically clog up and narrow the blood vessels. So now the amount of blood and oxygen and nutrients that would normally get to organs, and it can impact the eyes and the kidneys and the heart and the extremities. We know many times, unfortunately, people, they don't have sensation as a result, and they stub their toe and they get an infection. And because the blood supply is not good, it doesn't heal well, and they get infection, and then it has to be amputated. Sometimes not just a toe, but a whole lower extremity, right? And that's the disease. And I use that today because this is what Jesus is kind of telling us with the vine and the branches. It's basically the same idea, right? If the finger is not attached to the body, it cannot get blood. If the vine is not on the, as a branch is not on the vine, it can't receive the sap. I had to go back and review photosynthesis, okay? So the sap gets from the vine and it goes out into the branch, delivering the nutrients. The plant takes in the carbon dioxide and the sunlight, and the chlorophyll in there changes it into glucose for energy for the plant, and water, right? And it releases what? Oxygen. So it's good to have plants, right? So that whole process kind of describes our spiritual life too. Because we have to drink the sap of the divine life, the sacrificial love that the Eucharist brings to us, that the Trinity shares with us in our soul, right? Remaining in Jesus, stay with me, stay in Him, stay connected to the vine, right? Just like a toe or a foot has to get amputated because it's not fruitful, it's not doing what it's supposed to do, it's diseased, so that can happen to one of us if we don't stay on the vine. We're not going to receive that life-giving sap, right? And then what happens? Then we take in the sun. Think of that as grace, huh? Or the action of the Holy Spirit acting on us so that we can then produce fruit with the sap, with the love and the power of the sacraments that are drawn up from the root of the church. We're rooted in the church. We take up those nutrients and we produce fruit. See, it's not just going to happen on its own. We have to cooperate. I thought of a plant, how it turns to the sun. It's the most amazing thing. You ever see the leaves will turn to the sun? We have to make that turn. We have to turn to cooperate with the grace. Otherwise, we will wither and we will fall to the ground. Right? It's like the term we use in medicine is necrotic tissue, dead, dying, putrid smelling tissue. Right? We don't want to be that tissue. We don't want to be that dying branch. We want to produce the fruit. What is that fruit? What is that fruit? The fruits of the Holy Spirit, the patience and the kindness and the generosity and the goodness. That's what we're called to. And you think about it, if I look at a tree, right? I don't zero in on one leaf, but you notice how every leaf blends into the tree. It's homogeneous, isn't it? Huh? So guess what? We need to blend into the vine. Because if we're made in the image and likeness of Christ, then we have to look like the vine. The branches have to look like the vine. Yes, we all have our unique gifts and so forth. It doesn't mean to deny that. But if we are made in His image and likeness, and that's who we were created to become, then take advantage. Drink the sap. Take the sap into your soul. Turn to the Son. Receive the grace. Let the Holy Spirit work with you. Work with the Holy Spirit. So we can produce what? Rich, juicy fruit and choice wine. I thought, how much time we put into these mortal bodies. I'm not saying don't take care of them. It's the temple of the Holy Spirit. But don't just take care of your body. We have to take care of our souls because the souls are eternal. We're going to get new bodies later. Right? I heard there'll be like 33-year-olds. That's pretty good, right? So as we come forward to the Eucharist today, we are going to be drinking that sap. You're taking in the body, blood, soul, divinity of humanity of Jesus, everything. Take Him in, take Him into your soul, and say, Lord, produce fruit. Help me to produce fruit and choice wine.